Yes. Getting better at it. 20th time is the charm. 20, I think it's the 20th show today. So yeah. And
It
thanks.
could.
This is a good one for me. I got excited because you messaged me earlier today and you said, hey, if you want to reveal the 100th Titan that you finished, and I was like, oh, perfect. Like that was great. And me personally, that's a huge accomplishment. I don't even want to know the time and effort that goes into making 100 of them, but I like in a gaming sense, I think things like this that the community does just in general like have so much kind of I don't know meaning to the game or like this is like to me this is like the real lore. It's like someone made 100 of these titans. I'm like it doesn't get no more real lore than that. So congratulations, it'll be cool to show it later.
Yeah, no, I was actually looking up. Actually, I was just going onto my thing here because the other day I was thinking, well, this time last year I was starting on my fifth battle group. So I've got several. Well, I've got about technically 9 battle groups that I made up, like armies
Gosh.
and all that. And then I thought, well, how many titans was that? Beforehand, and in the last year, I think I've done about 50 titans at least.
Wow,
Um,
see that's what in the last year. Okay, I didn't that's a lot, man.
yeah, I would say like for the
Oh,
because
that's true.
obviously,
Because all the time home too. You know what I mean with lockdown and all that.
yeah. So it was like I had 4 of like the start of sort of like June, end of June, and
Yeah.
it was about why that I started doing my Legio Ozadax, which are the blue and white ones I posted up last week. Um, and then it was just like I just went on from there. And obviously building. Well, I can tell you. Well, from there, I had that's it. So 11, 10, 30, 21, 31, 41, 50. No, 41, 42, 43. So with the new Legio stuff, I've done 43 Titans. I've also added to my existing as well. So I've definitely done over 50 Titans in that
Wow.
year period. So
And what did you? So you probably didn't even get to play with any of those yet, really.
I played with the Ozadax ones, the blue and white ones. I did get a game. I got one
Okay.
game with them when it was, I think, when we came out of first lockdown, just before second lockdown. I managed to meet up with friend Martin at his place and was in the garden um,
Okay.
and played. I did have one other game, which was with my mate Phil, Engine Phil, who turns
Yeah.
up and crashes the system. Played a bit of Garden Hammer with him earlier, but that was with the older, my original
Yeah.
4 of Titans. So yeah, so I had 2 games after lockdown started, and that's it. That's all I've played in the last year and a half.
Yeah. Gosh, that is kind of crazy when it's that much time. You know, we've had a lot of different degrees of lockdown going on, but still, for almost most people, it's probably like a year of it. You know what I mean? And you think of how many people were you're playing and all the games that got interrupted and didn't get played and all that stuff.
Yeah, no, it's crazy. Obviously, you can like still play games with. There's a computer game that you can get from Stream called
Yeah.
Table Simulator, and you can actually play 40k as one of like somebody's done like the program, so you can actually play
Yeah.
40k with all like the different sort of units and stuff on it. Which it does look, it's really basic, but it looks good, and obviously you get to play
Yeah.
somebody in that sort of form. Oh, Heretic War Gamers Gaming is here. Hello.
Oh, Heretic, you're loaded up. King Crimson, what are we working on today? So this one was submitted, and I had to write what green stuff and glue on Twitter, I believe is it.
That
I know
sounds
it's a name. I just don't know the exact typing of it. And I had to do it because it was something very different. And I was like, okay, I want it sort of like clean and like friendly-ish and kind of setting. And so I got this one going on, and then let me see. Did I blank out? Yes. Okay. Um, we got Heretic loaded up. I don't know. He set some sort of record for submitting a miniature for probably I don't know how many weeks. I was like,
It
since
just
I'm a
shows
big
the tenacity of the
yes,
chaplain.
since I'm a big fan of tenacity and, and stuff, I was like, all right, this gets done. Like I see it enough. It's like brainwashing me into it. I approve.
I was just saying that he's got his first game of 9th edition on the 21st at Warhammer World. Awesome. Oh, boy racers are out.
Did
I don't know
how
if you
did
know that.
Heretic? Did you? I literally have not played. Oh, I can't. I take that back. I think I got one sort of game in around like fifth edition, but other than that, I haven't played probably since second. So it is. What do you think? Is it smoother now? Is it smoother? Or is it the same kind of like the game complexity? Do you think than like the older ones? I'm just kind of curious for the people who play 40K. Like, I don't know if they're like. Sometimes they try to streamline things and it just makes a lot of things more complex anyway or whatever. I was kind of wondering how the game plays these days. So let me know if you liked your ninth edition.
Well, going like the last edition, I probably understood and played the most with was 7th. I've played 8th, and I've played several games of 8th. And when you're playing 40k, and then you're playing like Horus Heresy, because Horus Heresy still uses a version of 7th
Oh,
for
okay.
it, because it's actually better for larger scale battles that you would be playing in a heresy in a game, basically. Whereas 40k from 8th onwards, like I liked 8th because it was very easy to create um, army lists. Like you could make an army list in like 5 minutes easily. Like bang, 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 because
Yeah.
you've got the variations. You've got the points base, then you've got the power levels base. And power level basically allows you just to choose a model, and you can basically say it's got all the gubbins on it and whatever. You don't have to individually price them. So you just
Okay.
go wash, 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 and you've got your army list. And it was straightforward in that. But then I did struggle a bit with like all the modifiers and stuff. And I've played only played one game of 9th, and it sort of not I say confused me. It just didn't make sense to me.
Gotcha.
Like
Yeah,
like
sometimes the game will change a little things and it won't register the same as another one playing.
mm, yeah, it's just like like fortifications and stuff. We probably wasn't doing it right or anything, but it just seemed odd. Like in older systems, like you'd get a bonus for being behind like
Yeah.
heavier barricades or like fortifications,
Yeah.
but you didn't get the same sort of thing in this. So as I said, I haven't really
Yeah.
played it that well, and I haven't really read the rules that clearly.
Yeah.
So
Oh, for sure. Huh. I'll end up playing quite a few different games. I gotta now that I'm doing this more and more, it's like the games help me kind of understand just what's going on and I don't know how the battles take place and stuff. So it does kind of add. It's almost like a little bit of research. Everyone should just play AT and said Heretic Wargaming said much more user friendly. Horus Heresy resembles older 40K. All right, that makes sense.
Soggy.
That's
Soggy,
I'll end
Soggy
up playing.
chips
I'll end up
is
playing some Titanicus.
yeah, no, you got it. Titanicus is by far the best game out.
Well,
uh,
it suits. I can tell just because someone who played used to play like BattleTech and all that kind of stuff. You know what I mean? I like the big mech kind of combat like that. So and things like someone's reactor blowing up. You know what I mean? That stuff is cool to me.
and that's the thing is, I was like I've recently with work and stuff where I listen to I normally listen to audio books, but I've been listening to a lot of like podcasts recently.
Yeah.
Um, to and from, and like obviously Adeptus Titanicus themed ones especially. So, but most of the guys on the several that I've been listening to, they all say the same thing. It's just like you can play AT, and even if you lose, you can still have a good time. And you don't get that sort of like you don't get sort of like so sort of worked up over the
I
game because it's really quite simple. It's fairly balanced.
yeah.
It's overall it is fun. Blowing up is hilarious at times.
I can see that it's not like, yeah, there's different games. It's like for me, even like a video games, stress is the wrong word, but if you start, I don't know how to put it. Like some are more like easygoing, relaxing type games than other ones. You know what I mean? I don't know. I don't even know what makes a game that way, but that's how they are to me.
Yeah, it's not just with AT. It's not just dice rolling or rules that make the game. It is a tactical, strategic game at the end of the day. So, you could roll really, really badly, like all your dice for every like shield saves, shooting.
Yeah,
But if you're, getting into the right positions and you're maximizing, your sort of ability to
tactical
shoot.
advantage.
Yeah, because like you can get out of fire arc, so you can shoot them, they can't shoot you,
Yeah,
or using scenery to actually hide behind, or all these sort of things really does add to the cinematic feel of the game because it does feel like you're sort of playing out a sort of like a war movie at times because
yeah.
of how it plays out.
Get this.
I do want to get to Titanicus maybe one day, depending on the future of Kill Team, which is my favorite game system. Yeah, again, from one like part of the scale to the other. Like Kill Team is quite a characterful game system where you have just a small unit and you can actually continually play with them and gain experience. So it's a much more sort of investing sort of game in that respect.
Makes sense.
And it's fun, especially if you're getting a campaign sort of going. But yeah, there's several games that have their own little sort of special niche within people's lives. And I say, I'm always going to say AT is one of the best games out there because to me it is.
Yeah.
Obviously, I wouldn't have invested so much into one game system if I didn't like it. Then,
You know what? Good point. It was so I know now we have 6 people tuned in, so we'll show Lee's 100th Titan here shortly. I'm just giving people a chance to come in for the world premiere 100th Titan. I don't know. There's got to be a select handful of people who pulled off 100 Titans. That's a small group, my friend.
it's a very small group. I'm the only one so far, I think.
Alone on an island. Yeah. That's a great achievement. That's cool. I'm glad it's on this show.
I know there's a couple of people that are on my heels.
Yeah.
So obviously, I have taken my time. I could have, if I had the time to do it, if I wasn't at work and I was still in lockdown, I probably would have finished them about a month ago.
Okay.
But I had been deliberately sort of dragging things out, so I have stuff to do on a Saturday night, really.
Yeah. Let me get some more on this.
It's Martin's furniture building and attaching stuff to walls, and it sucks.
Sam, thanks for making it. We had quite a few people stopping by. I appreciate that.
Sam, Soggy's agreeing with you about the about BattleTech should have been. The game is that BattleTech should have been very, very crunchy, cinematic, but plays quickly.
Yeah.
Thank you, Crimson, for the Lee. I was waiting for that.
Do they have? Yeah, I've seen some terrain kits. Does GW itself sell any like? I don't know how to put it. Like serious terrain kits for Titanicus? Like I've seen little pieces, but do they have like a like here's a big kit with a whole bunch of stuff?
Yeah, they do 3 different sort of kits. They have like the basic building kits, the Civitas, as they call it, buildings. Then they have one which is spires, so it's like, really fancy
Yeah.
rooftops, spiring up towers, sort of thing that you can put on top of or keep separate for your scenes. And then they've got a mechanicum based one, so it's all like refinery pipes and cranes and stuff, which is pretty cool. So again, when I was starting off, I got a few of those, and I've been sort of butchering them for all the stuff on the bases.
Oh, okay. So that's what I was wondering. Yeah, yeah, yeah.
Forge World did do some gaming boards like that, but they've stopped doing them. Whether or not it's a permanent thing, I'm not sure.
Yeah.
Soggy, is that? Did they permanently stop those ones? Do you know? Because I can't remember if it was a permanent stop or if it's just out of production for the time being until they got more materials.
Yeah, yeah, I know because I bet you they would. That's the one thing I think an Adeptus Titanicus board would even be more calling to me than like a 40K board. Like terrain is probably some of my favorite stuff about the game. It's like again like kind of building the world they're fighting in. So with Titanicus, just because of that scale and all the rubble. Oh wait, we got to give them.
Yeah, so that's the sort of building that you get because they're sort of modular. You can sort of build them up as high as you want. So I literally just take a pair of clippers to them. Sorry, get them up a bit there.
Yeah, that's fine. Oh, so those are the official. Okay, all right. So
Yeah,
that's the scale then there too.
yeah. So I started putting these on with my second loyalist, Lijo, um, because it gave a sense of scale, especially to Warhouse because they're quite
Absolutely.
small. But having like buildings, because you're thinking like, well, that's like a 2-floor building now, so that's going to be quite high, and then this thing's still like massively towering over it. But yeah, it's they're really quite good kits, and it allows you freedom to actually build so much out of them. Although it does get a bit intimidating because you're looking at them and going, I want to build something, but I
Yeah.
don't know what to build. Because you're sort of like there's not a great deal of examples to choose from on that side of things.
We will. All right. Oh, and see, you didn't even know. So watch. We'll get ready to reveal it now. I think. Should I? Which one should I show first? Should I show the picture I really liked first?
You go with that one.
All right. So now
Because
wait. We did this just for Lee. So that is
coming from the walls.
this man's 100th Titan. That thing is cool, and a War Master, obviously. And what's it? What's it armed with? I saw somebody. I know it's a plasma. Is it the one you got to say the full name of?
No, well, this is the new one because the original one was the Sun Fury Plasma Annihilator, which
Yeah,
is the one that I would say that you have to say in its full glory.
yeah.
But this one is armed with the Suzerain Plasma Destructors. So again, you got to give it its full title, really, instead of just always gun. No, it's Suzerain Plasma Destructors. The name's on the tin. You know what it's going to do to you once it fires, which is normally going to melt you into a really small hole. But yeah, it's got now in the game system. It only has the 2 main guns, the Suzerain Plasma Destructors, and on its shoulders, you've got. I've only put in 2 Vulcan Mega Bolters into its shoulder area.
Okay.
But on the roof, you've got 4 hard points for like AA guns or siege mortars. Depends what you want to put in there.
Yeah.
It's also got the 2 battle cannons on its shoulders there as well. And then those things in the knees are actually rocket pods.
Okay. They are. Yeah, I think that's. You remember you telling me they were rocket pods.
But
That's
none of them
cool.
have an effect in game.
Yeah, maybe later. I got to do the
Yeah,
rocket pods firing too. I'll end up doing this one as a paint over. That thing is epic. I like the angle on his leg and the angle on the gun, and that you got some good stuff going on. You got some good shadow in here. This will be a cool one. That is an epic
yeah. It was
model. I love the head on this thing.
yeah. Well, that head was because in the kit you get 3 different heads. So that one, as soon as I saw it, I thought that's going on a Krytos, the God Breakers, because it just screams. You know, literally looks like it's screaming, going, "Rah! I'm gonna rip your head off and shit down your neck," uh, sort of thing. It just has that attitude to it, so it had to be for the Krytos.
Heretic
That,
Wargaming said, "Is this the new Night Size Titan?" No, it's
yeah,
the. Wait, yes.
yeah, it's the size of an Imperial Knight. So,
Oh, okay. I get what you're saying. I was like, wait a second. Wait. Oh
because some
God.
people have said about using this, so it's like the size of my head. Here you go. Head
Yeah.
size. So,
Okay. So some people talked about using that in place of a knight in 40K.
yeah, personally, I wouldn't because the scaling is off.
Mm-hmm.
Um, because if you look at this, you've got all these little doors and hatches on there, and then all these little small weapon parts and all that sort of stuff. Um, yeah, it is a big model, but on a smaller scale, and it's not going to sort of marry up to a 40K sort of size knight, really. Although, yeah,
Maybe.
same height and stuff. It's not got the same bulk.
Yeah.
And just yeah, just doesn't do it. But people can do it. That's their hobby. But I wouldn't. um, Soggy's not sure about those Ford World tiles. Uh, Soggy Chips in the chat is part of the Goonhammer team, who's like the foremost sort of AT or and other games as well. But
Yeah.
I you know them for their AT stuff.
Oh.
Um,
Okay.
but he's part of the team that brings all these sort of like reviews of Titans and like Legio rules and everything. They go through it with a fine tooth comb, and you know it's a good read
Yeah.
on a, and to get a good insight onto how
That's good
your
to know
Legio.
because I'll probably check a few things before I like make any legios or anything when I do it. So that's I've been, I keep scouring like more and more stuff. People have like different podcasts I go listen to and just kind of get the general feel of what's going on. So I've been catching
Yeah,
up with all that.
I think Soggy needs to probably look at maybe doing a podcast because the content they do is really awesome and it covers and it's very in depth. But lots of people are doing these podcasts nowadays, or obviously streaming or whatever.
Yeah,
So there you go. That's my two pence for you, Soggy.
I still do. I'll do articles and like blogs still because a lot of times, depending on what it is, I like to do. You can kind of read kind of quick. You know what I mean? If it's like some questions and answers or some main topics, it really does. Like I like both of that because sometimes I just want to go over something quick, and a lot of times reading something stays with me a little differently, and maybe because you're visually confirming it or whatever. You know what I mean? So I think sometimes, but then other times you just want to kind of like when I'm working or something, I'll put one on more and more now and just listen to different stuff about the games.
Yeah, no, that's the thing. It's like I've learned a whole lot of more about like gaming in general from listening to like some of these podcasts and stuff recently. Um, and like there's some really good like Aya Horus podcast, which if you don't mind a bit of swearing, it's a group of Australians who do a
Yeah,
Horus well and other games as well, but they're a really quite good podcast to listen to. Recent one, Maximal Fire, which is a couple of English guys. Oh, hello.
that your first, and that's your first Titan and your 100th one, correct?
Yeah, so it's Veritas Vinci of the Legio Ignatum, the first Titan I built and painted for, which was actually pretty much assembled and base coloured and coated on the day I got my Grandmaster box.
So when
uh,
did you do that? When did you do that first one? Like what year
August
or so?
2018. So it was a Saturday uh, when it was delivered, which was quite funny because my I think I've mentioned it before. My friend Phil, who he WhatsApped, well, he FaceTimed me at work, and he was like going, "Oh, I've got my Grandmaster box and I'm opening it, all the solid plastic and all that sort of thing." So he's going, "I've got my box, you've not got yours," no, 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 sort of thing. So I
Just
got
what friends are
home,
for.
yeah, and when I got home, it was there. So I opened it, built it, and base coated and primed it by about 9 o'clock, and he hadn't even started. And to be fair, I think I done about 40 Titans by the time he actually got around to doing it.
So you did 100 Titans in like 3 years or so, or was it 4 or something?
Well, August 2000, it's coming up to the third anniversary next month.
Oh my gosh, you're some sort of overachiever with that hobby stuff.
Yeah, well, as
I thought it was
certain
longer
people,
than that, but you're right. The game hasn't been out that long. Wow.
yeah, well, it came out that Grandmaster box came out with because you got 2 warlords, 6 knights, some buildings, and you got all the rules in there.
Yeah.
Um, so again, it was a really good sort of value for money box to buy. And so that little tank at the bottom there was actually from the original Space Marine
Oh
release
yeah.
back late 80s. So obviously, I just wanted it like crunching it down into the floor as it's stomping along.
Yeah.
But yeah, it was 3 years this August is the
Oh, I'm just
is
glad I got this. I even prepared. I prepared and had to figure out how to get that. Someone on YouTube, that's the one, the exact one I played when we canceled the best show ever. And I I was on from YouTube, so I messaged on his YouTube channel. I said, "Hey, can I use this sound effect?" And he was like, "Yeah." So then I had to like figure out. I was like, "How do I download it and get it into like the format so I can use it as a sound effect?" So I kind of figured that out. Hopefully, I'll bring in some more kind of cool sound effects. I watched. I see the people on Twitch, and I get all jealous because I was watching Lonely Havocs and them again. They got like all these stickers that they put on. People can like buy stickers and have stickers pop up on the screen and all this stuff. I'm like, yeah, they did a lot of cool stuff.
yeah. No, Dan is again like one of these hobby heroes that he's really
Yeah,
friendly and all that. I was actually, funny enough, I was listening to his podcast the other day when he was interviewing Graham McNeil.
I did not listen
So
to that yet. I saw that was cool. I know that's one I'll end up listening to because I usually catch a good half or most of the podcasts on that one. Ed Smith
yeah,
says that the horn that broke the internet.
yeah,
And
the
King Crimson said, for 40K podcasts, I've been listening to Adeptus Ridiculous.
oh, I'll check that one out as well, Crimson. I've not heard that one. Martin was going there. This one is armed with Susie's. So Lee has decreed it, thus it will always be called Susie's from now on. Susie's reign. Susie's reign of plasma. Um,
Oh,
but no,
Sam just said, man, watching you do this makes me miss my graphics tablet. I love tablets, and I tell you what, I said before, I had a Cintiq Companion, which is a full Windows PC. Basically, it's almost like a laptop, but it doesn't unfold, and it just has the screen on top where you can drive it, almost like a bigger iPad. But then once I got the iPad, because it's so light, it just like kind of changed everything for me. Like I'll find myself laying in bed. I'll like get in bed sometimes early, and I'll just be like, okay, even if you're laying down at like 9, and then I'll end up drawing on the tablet for a few hours, and you get a couple, 2.5 hours worth of work done sometimes just sitting in bed.
I was just laughing at Martin, the great potato mage. He's just gonna. Oh yes, that lesser known Prince song, Susie's Rain, Susie's Rain. Oh. Yeah, I can't believe you've got like 2 war horns off so far, and no FBI have turned up.
We're
That is
good. I
just
got it right. This show's gonna get better. It's cool. Like people join. They've been coming here steadily. Oh, and shout out to King Crimson, who literally only missed like one of these shows. That was because of like the job interrupting him. So thank you very much, King Crimson, because that means a lot to me and everyone who stopped by. Thank you very much. We'll be. I want to keep doing this, and I'll be doing Sundays. Sundays, I'm going to have the regular shows probably at this kind of same time, and it's going to be more free form. I know at some point I'm going to try to actually build some models or paint some, and then have different guests or whoever kind of wants to come on. So a little more like free form and not just based on me having to do paint overs and stuff. So that's what I'm going to try that out on the Sundays and just kind of see. And it obviously I did it once, and we had Rob from Mantic, and then the people have off that day, or some of them do, so you could tell like they're easier to make it than not too many people in the United States at like 2 p.m. on on a Wednesday get the chance to make it.
Yeah, that's the thing is when the internet is a wonderful, wonderful sort of creation where it's allowing people from other countries and cultures to sort of interact and hang out together. But time is different all around the world. So
Yeah.
sometimes certain people that you want to chill out with and that you can't get because it's like middle of the night.
Hmm. Yeah, join us at the middle of the night. I know Martin. I think Martin was like staying up to play uh Space Marine with people from here, and he's like over in the Germany, so it was just like staying up till like 4 a.m. or something to play some games. Cracked me up.
Yeah. Well, Space Marine would be worth it because that was such an awesome game, especially the multiplayer.
Oh
I had
yeah.
so much fun playing that game when it was out. And I'm always sort of every now and again I'll put a random tweet out into the universe saying like why can we not get Space Marine like modernized and re-released or something
Yeah.
for like Xbox especially because it's obviously Xbox.
Yeah, I know, like a quicker game to hop in and stuff.
Just chowing down some tangy wine gums.
I'm surprised. I never did Space Marine yet. I never even loaded. I still have all the free games from that one White Dwarf. I still can't. They're advertising White Dwarf 466, right? And I still didn't even get my White Dwarf 465. Like, I think it just, I might be able, if I went today, literally today to the GW, I think it's the first day it came in the stores. I didn't call up there because I might just run up there today or tomorrow or Friday to get one. And mine should
Yeah.
be coming in the mail soon. But, I was just like, of course, the one time you're in it and whatever, it's like until it gets delayed to the whole US.
Well, that's what I did that at the start of the year because a friend of mine posted up a picture to us. I think it might have been on Facebook because my Titan, one of my big Titans, Iracundus, was featured in White Dwarf as part
Yeah.
of an interview about the Titans Owners Club, which I'm part of, and he said, "Hey, you've made it into White Dwarf," and I was like, "Oh wow!" And I thought, well, I don't have a subscription to it, and popping out because it was still in lockdown is a bit
Yeah.
hard, sort of thing. And places I normally go to don't normally have it, so I actually just ended up downloading it from
Yeah.
the
Yeah.
Games Workshop. You can get the e version,
Yep.
so I downloaded that. And then when I was actually in a supermarket, I actually saw they had a copy, so I bought one as well.
Yeah, I got so many of these coming. It's hilarious. I probably, I literally bulk ordered like 10 of them from my place. I have my one subscription one, and then I got 10 of them just because I'm like, well, some are gonna get cut up because I saw everyone framing theirs. I'm like, that's a good idea. And then I'll have a couple friends who want them and stuff like that. So I was like, oh, I'll get a bunch.
Yeah. So the photographs they had in the White Dwarf that I was in, I've already got anyway. So it's just
Yeah,
like, okay. But like that, obviously being where you were sort of like interviewed and they've taken your sort of like work and
yeah.
framed it. My friend Ben Greaves, he had some of his.
Oh yeah, I that was the one. That was one of them that I saw the picture of that I thought was. That's what I was like. Oh, I got to do something like that because I wouldn't have thought of it at all. You know what I mean? I saw cool. I'm like, hey man, that's cool. And the one thing I was gonna do is, um, I had saved a bunch of the tweets. Like, so I screenshotted. Sometimes people were taking pictures with the white dwarf and saying, hey, this and that. So I screenshotted a whole bunch of those, and I'm gonna frame those along with it, just because I'm like, man, I want to remember it, and then remember like a bunch of the people who were all like there and happy with me, and some of them, got their miniature in there, and I'm like, that would be a cool, nice little touch. And then when you have it, and years down the line, go read some tweet from 2021 Plague Apocalypse.
Had I remember when Ben had his knights featured in White Dwarf about 3-4 years ago, I think, and I took a picture of the White Dwarf being open, and I put a couple of my knights in front of it as if they're reading it
Yeah, yeah,
from behind. Because he has this thing about in the group that we run together, the Tyrannos Owners Club,
yeah.
different from the Titans Owners Club. We were first. Um, um, House Tyrannos, there's been a big sort of like civil war going on between members because originally Duncan Rose was like the first sort of face of Games Workshop painting tutorial videos.
Yeah, yeah.
The very first video he did was when the Knight models were first released, and he'd done several videos of how to paint up a House Tyrannus Knight, and he painted the pads silver. So I copied and painted mine silver. But then they released the book. Now this is something that's happened a lot over the course of years, where
Yeah.
people's interpretations of the colours used have been translated onto their model. So in this book, the Knight Compendium, because you can't really differentiate between silvers and chrome in particular in print, it looks a bit white, although it has like this little grey shimmer on it to indicate it's a metallic sort of thing. But most people took it as white, and so they painted their shoulder pads white. And so in the Tyrannos Owners group, we're like, every now and again, again, oh, look at those nice white pads. Lee would really like them. And I go, silver! Yeah, it's been a long, long ongoing war between the Silver Knight and Duncan Rhodes and the White Knights of Fluff. There won't be no resolution ever.
Yeah, that's what makes these games.
But
And
yeah,
it
it's more
really is
white.
to me. It's the everyone's personal attachment and little stories is what makes the games popular, in my opinion. You know what I mean? Like if it's not for those, then people don't play and people don't care about your game and whatever. And especially something in the 40K world, they have such a long history. Been
Oh,
around.
definitely. But you say it's like everyone's interpretations and it's everyone's hobby and all that sort of thing.
Yeah.
But I always point out, especially to the Tyrannus guys, that in heraldry, in knightly heraldry, white represents silver because they couldn't afford silver
Oh
paint.
yeah.
So and like gold is represented by yellow.
They didn't have
Like,
metallic paints.
or they could make them, but they would
Yeah.
involve actually putting silver into the mix, sort of thing. and obviously only the wealthy could have
Yeah.
that sort of embellishment on their stuff. So that's why they use white for silver and or argent, and then obviously yellow was used for gold.
That
It's
came
like
out kind of
secondary.
peaceful. That's a nice Age of Sigmar. That's not there's not even anything war torn in this one.
I know. I was actually quite concerned of what you was going to do with it.
Me too.
But
That's one of the
it's
reasons I
beautiful.
chose it. I was like, I have no idea. Like, what am I gonna do? I'm like, what is this? I can't, whatever. And then I got some background pics, and then it kind of merged two. And this was kind of like some graphic ones. I was like, all right, and then like put more shade of the trees around. And I was like, all right, I want the light coming in. The original thing, I was like, okay, I saw like morning. I was like, okay, like a morning scene. You know what I mean? Like the deer coming up and the light kind of falling on it, and that's where I started with in my mind. And I was like, all right, how are we gonna pull this off? It's
So
pretty
when
cool,
I
actually. I like that.
Photoshop a plasma pistol into its hand.
And then the deer bites it and takes it down. It's a rabid one.
Take that, Bambi.
Bambi's gonna win. I like his face. This model, the face looks very serene on this too, with like the little owl up there and everything, and the bird here. That was like some great touches. The base was really cool too.
Yeah,
Nice, like
the
lush. I'm a big
fact
fan of like forests and like whatever moss and all that stuff. So anytime you give me some foresty base, what sucks though is like I love foresty type base, but then it's harder. It is harder for me at least. But like when you're trying to do like the leaves and bring in the stuff, it's a little more time consuming because you're trying to generalize the light coming across the leaves and stuff like that. So it takes more time for me to do it. That's the only bummer.
mm, the the face on the I think is a dryad um,
Yeah, I
is
think so too.
reminiscent of the creature out of Pan's Labyrinth.
Yeah.
Have you seen Pan's Labyrinth?
Oh yeah. Oh
Yeah,
wait. Yeah. I did. Yeah.
yeah. I can't remember. It wasn't the not the horrible beast thing, but the
Yeah.
I can't even. I knew the name of what the creature was, but I can't remember it now. It's gone. But yeah. So it's more that than Groot.
And what Sam said, I had it down as a pale green gray sort of light. Yes. And so originally I was thinking that too. I had like the pale forest, and I was thinking more like fog. So I was like, well, fog, and then I'm like, that's when I started to switch. I'm like, let me try like some morning kind of sunshine cutting through it. You know what I mean? I wanted like that fog burning off, and I wanted the bright, so it would be kind of like a quote unquote happy. You know what I mean? Like how many times you don't have like a nice bright sunset in the 40K universe, or well, this isn't 40K, but still,
Yeah.
Sigmar. You know what I mean? But
Yes, Sam was coming with the answer. It's the fawn. The fawn that was the
mm, it was the fawn. Sam, thank you. Yeah, this was awesome. How long did this take you, by the way, to do this miniature? When you get the chance. Oh, that was nice little light coming across there. Aww. Real fun. And then some grimdark.
counterbalance the sweetness with the Grimdark.
And
Here
then
comes
some
Mr.
get chopped
Angry
ahead.
with my rocket propelled explosive
Yeah,
round.
rocket propelled weaponry.
Yeah. That's the thing. It's like most people like heavy bolters and bolt pistols, storm bolters, and all that. But it's the whole thing that it's the round itself is rocket propelled.
Yeah.
It's like what? And that's the weird thing where you see like
Shell casing or
the
whatever.
shell
Yeah.
case stuff because it's technically a gyrojet, but then they've put like shell cases into
Fire it out and then it kicks in.
Anyway,
Like, yeah, that's what I would say. I just think, yeah, the shell fires out and then the rocket kicks in.
yeah, yeah. It's the shell is a sheath to
Yeah,
protect the delicateness of the rocket.
of the yeah, it's a 2-stage.
Mm. It kicks it out, and then the rocket kicks in,
Yeah, it's my story, and I'm sticking to it.
and it buries itself into some poor sucker's flesh, and
Yeah,
then
I know. I saw someone randomly on Twitter. They had done an animation, and it was really well. It was just like a tank, a land raider, I think it was, went by, and then there was a space marine who fires his gun. And I should have, I think I retweeted it. I don't even know. But anywho, it was done really well, and the animation of the space marine firing, I just thought was really cool. Like how the gun fired and everything. It was very well done. It was tweeted out in a GIF form, so I'll try to find it for anyone who's into that. According to Ian Watson Inquisitor book, that is how bolt rounds work. See? Genius.
uh, Ian Watson was like one of the earliest sort of writers for sort of 40k fiction.
Yeah.
So like Space Marine that he wrote, which I can still remember to this day, like the things that went on in that book, and I haven't read it in over 20 odd years.
Yeah.
It must be about 25 years, or even longer. But it's although I can only remember 2 characters.
Yeah.
I know 3 characters, like the 3
Well,
main protagonists, but yeah, it was one of those books, and it was at the time that, and obviously Inquisitor, which had Inquisitor Jacques Draco,
oh.
who has been revisited in later fiction, but the guys from Space Marine haven't.
I can't
So
wait. I just can't. Well, I can wait, but I want to be doing this when I'm like 70, so I can be like some really old dude streaming on YouTube about the old days and be like all like just like full scale. You don't see anyone at least 70 talking Warhammer. Like, yeah, when we had our books come out, we had to have them on printed paper.
I was just having flashbacks. I was recently watching Dustin Hoffman in Little Big Man,
Yeah.
because I absolutely loved that movie from when I saw it as a kid, and I just saw it on Amazon. And I thought, sod it, I'm going to watch that again. And I was
Yeah.
sat there, I was hobbying at the time, and I was watching Little Big Man. But it was just like when he's doing the old man at the start. So, I remember it was 1862, and I was at the Battle of Little Big Horn. It's just like it's that like screwed up face telling this story of like what he'd done and where
Yeah.
he'd been and that sort of stuff. It was brilliant.
Because I'll still be like, Marines, Terminators save on a 3+ on 2d6, and I don't care what you say, you whippersnappers.
We're gonna be like Stettler and Waldorf.
It's
Welcome to our 400th show.
Tune in next week and see if I'm still alive.
My pulse is still going.
Yeah.
It's still
Well,
going.
you know how they have those watches that keep your heart rate and stuff? Like, you need that, but it displays it on the screen during the live stream so they can, like, check. Let's make sure I stay alive during this stream.
Yeah, they can just press a button to give you a little
Yeah.
jolt.
They gotta revive you. It, like, shocks your heart. If you see
Damn
me
you, kid!
pass out, can you hit the heart shock button for me? Lee shows off his 1,000 Titan. It'll be like, hang on, Lee, let me put my teeth in, and we're gonna start this right up.
Come into the show cackling like we normally do.
Ed Smith says that'll be 2 years for your 1,000 Titan.
I've wasted my entire life on Titans. I realize that now as I come to the end.
What do you have a? Do you have like a favorite Titan that just has performed memorably, so it just kind of rose to the top of your personal Titan army type deal?
Legio Solaria Titan. It was a warlord called Aphionia, and it was the warlord Titan I used in the Legio Walks event last year, where it basically, in the last two games, which were the two biggest games, because you played 3 games on the Saturday, 2 games on the Sunday. The 3 games were 1,000 points, and then it was 1,500 points, and then another 1,500 points. And then Sunday was straight into a 2,000 point, followed by another 2,000 point.
Oh, I'm not a pro athlete. I'm not keeping that schedule.
Yeah, and so like well, we didn't know until the day, to be honest with you. We were told to make lists for 1,000, 1,500, and 2,000. And on the Sunday, I wasn't feeling really, up with it. I was feeling a bit rough. I hadn't been like drinking heavily or anything like that. I wasn't feeling well.
Yeah.
And I was like, a 2,000 point game. Oh, Jesus, this is going to be mental. This is going to be carnage. And I finished this game in about an hour. Yeah, it was given like 2.5 hours per game because it was a big game. But it just worked out for me, and I just basically just annihilated this opposition really quickly. It was weird because the mission type was that I had to deploy in like a circle. So from the center point on the map, I could go 12 inches left, 12 inches right, forward and back. And I had to place down some objectives which had to be defended. So I had to split my entire army to cover that. And I didn't realize at the time that the opponent could come on from any part of the board. So where I'd set up my force, where I was standing, my side of the table, I put my big guy, my warlord Aphionia, and to sort of cover everything. And then my opponent put two warlords right behind me. Another one right on the opposite side to shoot at me as well. And then these other stuff around. And I thought, oh, this is going to get so messy. But I absolutely annihilated the guy. And it was like Thomas Clark, who's one of the main rules writer, story writer for the AT books and stuff. He was sort of adjudicating stuff, and he's walking around. He's looking at the table, and he's come over to me. He's going, "I thought this mission, shouldn't you be defending?" I just went all out attack. I just went, well, I'm stuffed. Let's just attack him. And I did that, and it paid off. They said, well, shouldn't you be just defending? I said, well, best form of defense is attack. But absolutely annihilated this, stronger Titans, and I'm quite well. Aphionia was unscathed. I think he lost 1 shield in the entire engagement.
Oh, wow.
And in the last game, it didn't lose any shields at all, no damage on it whatsoever, even though it was standing on a hill directly opposite an opponent, opposite number, and another Titan, because they never bothered firing it out. And then it got the kill shot, which it had 2 quake cannons.
Yeah.
And the 2 Titans opposite were sitting on top of a shield generator, which gave them a re-roll to this shield saves. And they were merging shields, so they could use all their shields in one pot, and they can re-roll failed shield saves. So it took a lot to get the shields down.
Yeah.
But once they got down, those 2 quake cannons just went boom, like that. Got 4 hits on the things, and basically they danced to death. Because with Quake, the Quake effect is that the Titans move,
Oh,
and
gotcha.
they moved into each other, damaged each other, and then one of them blew up, which then damaged the other one even further, and then that one blew up. So in that last thing, it just took them out, and it was just like a beautiful ballet of destruction. But yeah, so Aphionia is my favourite Titan, quite simply because of that
Yeah.
week.
No, that's what I was wondering. Like something good has to happen like that to have a good story. On that note, wait, let's show another picture right here. What is this one? What what is that one? That's your all four. You have 4 War Masters.
Yes, the
You
Four
didn't like
Horsemen.
have to remortgage your house or anything for these, did you? You're not making any bad calls, are you, man?
Christmas and birthday presents.
Okay, good. As long as it's like, well,
So I get, from work, my boss gives me a Christmas bonus. So I save that. I put that to one side. And then I asked for Christmas for Games Workshop vouchers, because I'm one of those guys that I don't just want to buy stuff for the sake of things. I knew that things were coming out and that
yeah.
things were going to be happening. So I thought I'll just have the vouchers and I will get what I want when they're released. And so I had a good few hundred pounds to one side. And then when they released the War Master and the Precept kits, I think I paid an extra 60 quid to get everything that I wanted, which was 4 War Masters and 3 Precept kits.
All right. As long
And
as
that
I
was
didn't want you going into like AA for miniatures. Like, I like heroin and I use that and I'm recovering. Other people are like, I'm an alcoholic, I'm recovering. And you'd be like, I bought way too many Titans. And I'm trying to recover.
I got a lot of time. Yeah, well, that's the thing. It's like originally my original idea was to get 2, and that was the Fire Wasp one, which is the one with the hazard stripes,
Yep.
and the latest one, Legio Krytos, because as I looked at all my Legios, I thought those 2 Legios were the ones that would more likely have War Masters, like in a fluff sense. But then I got the 3rd one, which was done as Solaria, which was actually the first one I painted. So from left to right is how I painted them. So
Okay.
Solaria was first, and I only got that because of I don't know if you saw the picture I put up where you had like the evolution of man type thing.
Oh, yes, I did. That was a cool photo.
Yeah. So I done that last year. And so I thought I've got to recreate it, but with a War Master. So I had to do that. So I thought, okay, that's 3. And then I thought, well, it's not really balanced, is it? I've got to have a 4th one to make it fair on, so that's why I've got the purple one, which is Legio Domitium, went with him. Although those were my first 3. Sorry. Yeah, I got 3 from all my Christmas vouchers and stuff and money. And the 4th one was a birthday present.
See, that's perfect then.
Yeah. So it's balancing your spend, basically. I don't, that.
Well, yeah, no, you're like me. Like I'd like to maximize the money any way you can on those things.
But obviously, buying from the Games Workshop vouchers, I spent about 2 hours juggling figures, thinking how's the most economical way of using the £150 worth of vouchers, sort of thing. So what should I buy out of that to maximise it, and then comparing it with the discounts you get from like online friendly local game stores and stuff, because they normally do like a 20% discount.
Yeah.
So I spent like a good couple of hours like jiggling around. And right, okay, if I get one of those box sets, the book, and something else, add a bit to that, and then I'll put all the other like non-GW cash that I've got towards the online one, sort of thing. So it was just basically just maximising the amount of plastic I can get. I had to get massively involved in everything.
Yeah, it's definitely not. It's definitely not cheap plastic, so it's a good plan.
Boom for the boom god. Loot for the loot throne. Thank you, Martin. But yeah, they are just magnificent models, and you know they take a long time to build and to paint,
Yeah.
but they're totally worth it at the end of it. Um, the only time I felt so sort of like satisfied with the work was with the original Warlords. They
Yeah.
just give you a great sense of achievement and satisfaction. But that one just takes it off the scale.
So, what did I know? I asked this before, but I am known for asking the same question over and over again. Um, everything. That's why I love it. Everything's always new to me. Like I don't even know what stage of Alzheimer's or whatever I'm in already, but everything's just new to me. It's like, yeah, we just it's the new show every week, even though it's the same question. So for a game of Titanicus, like what were we saying? Like 5, 6 to 8. Like how many would you need for a decent game? Not like a totally start game, like a.
Right. So, well, the minimal amount of titans you can have in a mana pool, because there's different types of mana pools, which allows you to play the game in different ways.
Okay.
So the minimum amount of titans you can have is 3
Okay.
of certain types or whatever mixes.
Yep.
Uh, the maximum is 5
Oh.
for one mana pool. Obviously, you can then have a second mana pool, or you can have knights as support elements or
Yeah.
a support titan. So you know to get it depends on what idea you've got.
Okay.
Um,
So, but realistically, say I wanted like a couple warhounds, a war master, a warlord, maybe something else, and a couple knights. That would be a decent force.
yeah, the War Master you can't have it in a mana pool anyway, so it's a support titan. So that's
Okay.
sort of a backup. So that will give you that's 1,000 points or 1,100 points straight off the bat for that one
Oh wow.
titan.
Okay.
So Warhounds are around about 230 for most builds each. Um, but as I said, there's like 18 different mana pool types. So some of them are like you can only have certain titans in them to
Yeah.
get the
Yeah.
benefit. There are it's not complicated, but there are like things
Yeah, no,
where
there's rules. I just, as long as I get a general idea, I'm like, okay, so I could get, a few Titans that I kind of like and would want to put together, and that's probably a reasonable force for a game. So
yeah,
that makes sense.
most of my forces are around about at least 10
Okay, yeah.
titans. So it allows me to do multiple mana pools because I've got, maybe like 4 warhounds, for example, couple of reavers, so at least 3 reavers, because then you can do a minimum corsair mana pool,
Okay.
which is reaver only, which allows you to be really maneuverable with your titans. In that, it's one of the sort of favorite sort of mana pools out there because of that fact that you can you get good movement forwards, backwards, and sideways. Because if you move sideways or backwards, it's normally half movement, so you half
Yeah.
your distance. But with a corsair, you go full movement, so it's really good to sidestep fire angles and stuff like that. So it gives you a little bit more of an edge in those respects. But yeah, there's some mana pools that allow you to get like re-rolls in your command checks, and they're like more
Yeah.
entry level type mana pools, because until you've got an idea of how the game plays,
Yeah, you don't want to get too tricky with something. And
yeah. But as I said, like having at least sort of like 4 or 5 warhounds will allow you to do all the warhound only mana pools,
okay.
or you can divvy them up with some of the reavers to do some of the other mana pools with lighter titans in.
Okay.
But then there's other ones where you can field like a warbringer, a warlord, and a war master is a separate entity anyway.
Sam,
But
thanks for making it. You have a good one for the rest of your day. Appreciate you
yeah,
swinging by.
thank you for the help for reminding me what the form was.
Are you whatchamacallit playing tonight, Lee? game at
No,
all?
because there's a very important football match on tonight
Okay, that's
in
right.
the
I didn't know if it
European.
held up or whatever. So
No, it's well, a couple of them are basically we're watching it, so I'm going to have it on in the sort of background in a sec
yeah.
anyway because it's actually starting. Um, but yeah, it's the semi-finals of the European Cup or European Championship, sorry, and England are in there playing Denmark.
Oh boy.
Sorry, Mrs. demanded to watch Loki. Oh my, that was
Yeah,
fantastic.
I gotta watch. I gotta watch the newest Loki too. I did not.
Yeah.
I forget half the time I watch them, but then they have the bonus clip at the end. And last week, I was like, wait a second, let me watch the bonus clip and see what goes on.
So is there bonus clips on every episode?
I don't know if it's every, but I know it was at least two because I fast forwarded the one time and saw one, and then I just kind of forgot about it. And I was like, wait a second, let me see if there's a bonus clip in that. Not this one that came out today, but last week's, and there was
Yeah,
at the end of it.
yeah, because that's the first time I knew that there was a bonus clip.
Okay.
I saw
And
that one.
some of the other ones I know there was, but it might not have been every episode. But I know I saw it one of the earlier ones, and that's the only reason I thought of it. I was like, wait a second, let me see if there's a bonus clip.
Yeah, I watched this one, today's one, earlier. So
Oh, did you? Yeah, I didn't see that one yet.
yes, it is good. It is good.
Good. It's good.
It's good. It's good, yeah.
40K. I got some more manic stuff I'm turning in. I'm gonna tweak. I won't show them yet. I didn't really get. This was a commission that I finished this week that I liked. Well, I forget how to pronounce his name, but I like that one. Such an
I'm
awesome matchup.
fabulous.
See, that's why I like a lot of the AOS stuff right now.
Hmm. Yeah,
That's
no,
a
so
big
the AOS
thing.
kits are really, really lovely and detailed, and very characterful.
I know
And
they got so crazy with it, but I mean, this is a huge one, obviously, but still, I love the birds. I keep seeing the birds in these sculpts, and that's like one of my favorite things. It's so dumb. Like I like all the birds.
it's all about birds.
I'm gonna do this one. That one will come up. We'll end up hitting this one. I'll think of something fun for it. Yeah, that is a huge Titan.
There's a little church in front that it's just stomped its way through.
I want little dudes that size. They need to sell little dude Space Marine packs or whatever or something. Like I don't know how they could do it.
Well, that's the thing. It's like I have got some old Space Marine vehicles and dudes from the original game,
Mm-hmm.
but I've been reluctant to put them on there just
I would be
because
too.
if they ever did bring out a new form of like epic Space Marine,
Yeah.
then the scales are going to be off, and so like the new things would probably be bigger, and then you'd be ripping them off of your bases.
Yeah.
I've only done one Titan which had some old Space Marines, like a little one squad just walking across the base in the sort of buildings there for my Solaria. But I just stopped using them because I just thought there's no point if they bring out new stuff, it's going to be wrong size and that sort of thing. Just
Yeah.
really affects my OCD. So I left it.
What is this one? Yeah, that thing is so cool. They hit it out of the park with design on this thing. I love the shoulder or like the head being so low on this and like the spot on its back above its head is like I love that design.
Mm.
Yeah, this is one of my like it's a strong the Reaver ones I'm not too keen. I'm kind of am on the Reaver. Sometimes I am, sometimes I not. Like I guess depending on how it's like placed on the Reaver because they got that real thin kind of look in a way, and they're like spread out with the kind of legs deal. So sometimes I dig
Mm.
them, sometimes it's like it takes me a bit. Warhounds
Yeah,
I
but these
love.
the stance is fairly straightforward.
Mm-hmm.
it is very posable as well. This one is the most posable of all the Titans. The Reaver is the next posable, um, but it is such a beast to work on and to sort of put together and then figure out how the hell you're going to paint
The
things.
Reaver is?
Yeah, Reavers are quite posable. You know, in comparison, they're like half the size of this thing.
Okay, that's what yeah.
But they are Reavers are the sort of like jack of all trades Titan.
Yeah, they're
They're
your
the
base.
baseline battle Titan. Um, so they're very they cover a large niche in the sort of Titanic War sort of listings. But Reavers can be very dangerous.
Yeah.
Um,
Oh yeah, they
you,
got
you,
all the
can't,
armaments and everything. Yeah.
you can't turn your back on a Reaver. You can't. Well, you can't turn your back on anything really.
No, because yeah, they're kind of like the standard, like a standard Titan. Wouldn't you say that's like the mid-range, flexible, kind of
Yeah,
do a lot of different stuff Titan? Yeah.
yeah. There's like obviously several legios like Mortis and Ignatum are famed for having large numbers of warlords and heavy titans in
Yeah.
their numbers. Gryphonicus, which is one of the most famed other Titan legios, they're famous for having lots of reavers, sort of thing.
Okay.
So, certain legios have allegiance. Well, they have an affection towards a certain type, or their battles, their princeps like working with certain types, and they've got an identity around having those type of things. So, like Legia Audax, which is holy warhounds. I don't have anything bigger than a warhound,
Oh
um,
wow.
which is like it's quite a characterful thing in itself.
Yeah,
Just
that
having
would be kind of
warhounds
crazy.
running around hunting down people.
A whole pack of them.
Yeah. Well, there's a scene in Betrayer by Aaron Dembski-Bowden where um, Ultramarines are making planetfall to attack the World Eaters and Word Bearers that are already there, and these Legio Audax, Ember Wolves, Titans are running around. When suddenly, like the lead one just sort of pauses and like as if sniffing the air as
Yeah.
it's thing, as a huge coffin ship comes crashing into the ground, and the doors open, and an Imperator Titan of the Legio Oberon starts to sort of come out of the loading bay, sort of thing.
Yeah.
And by the time it starts sort of walking out of the coffin ship, a whole like pack of warhounds have already headed towards it, waiting for it, and
Yeah.
just run up to it, harpoon its weapons, and then start pulling on its guns
Yeah.
so it can't fire and stuff, and they drag it down
Oh
just through
wow.
sheer.
That's pretty cool. See, that's another reason I'm gonna oh yeah, wait. Who's even still here? You know what? I should is anyone new here? I think maybe next week's show or something. I have a bunch of Audible books. I should give one away on the live stream. I think to next week's show, give away an Audible book or something. I have a couple to give away, so maybe I'll try to figure out a way to do that.
I'm sure. I'm sure. Oh, Crimson's still here.
Crimson, did I? No, I didn't give Crimson one. You know what, Crimson, you just got yourself an Audible book, dude. So thanks for sticking around. That's a worthy one. So I'll do like another one next week for someone. But yeah, Crimson, you get yourself an Audible book. So we'll figure that out, and then I'll pick you one. It's got you can't get every book on there because I got the credits, but it's good for there's a whole ton of 40K ones. So there. Thanks for making the show, dude.
All good.
Had a lot of Titans. You did 100 of those bad boys. Now this one better perform in battle. Your 100th one. Don't let there be some big letdown, Lee. No pressure.
Yeah, got to get a game at some point to say like that last one because I've already said to Gav Thorpe that when we meet up again at like one of the sort of like Black Library events. Was that the last Black Library event went to? Myself, Gav Thorpe, Guy Haley, Neil Roberts, who's the artist for Black Library,
Yeah.
and my mate Greg. We played a game of Adeptus Titanicus, and me and Gav were playing Legio Kratos, and I've already said to him, said like, once I've got it painted, you can be in charge of it. You can run around with it.
That's kind of cool.
So he's got that to look forward to, because hopefully we won't be as drunk as we was last time we played. So we absolutely destroyed that battlefield. We was blowing up buildings left, right, and centre, and Titans, just not
wait,
the right.
do you blow up buildings in this game?
Yeah, can do. Yeah,
Oh,
it's part of the
cool.
So you can blow up buildings. So there was a situation where Guy Haley had retreated his warhounds behind this really big tower block, and I said to Gav, I said, "I'll tell you what, this is going to be hilarious. I'm going to shoot that building in my next turn, because it's like they're hiding behind it, so it's just like you've just walked into them as they're in the shower.
Yeah.
So like,
yeah, drop the door. And you're like, what?
The building goes down, and then he went and shot it. That was my plan.
Your plan got stolen.
Yeah, stole my plan. But then I shot a warhound. I shot the warhound up its butt and got a headshot for it. So,
does anybody? So, I noticed the Blood Angel. If anyone plays Blood Angels and is hardcore into like the squad composition and everything, I did this for that. I said it before in here, but Blood Angels Commander, his channel is hardcore about Blood Angels, and I totally dig it for that. I've listened a few times just to see, and I'm like, okay, I can see. I'm a mix. Like, I'm totally like, if you played a game, I'm the type who you just kind of play with your friends and you tweak your armies and have a little fun. But then on the same hand, I also like, if you're both on the same wavelength with your friend and you really start kind of, okay, let's start really tweaking these armies to kind of maximize like what you can do with them and fight kind of deal. I love that aspect of the game too. I mean, now the games are probably so big that I wouldn't get totally into that aspect, but I do really like enjoy the thought of it. But the other thing is, I wondered, is anyone doing like Blood Angels Commander? They'll have some live streams all set up, right? So they'll be playing the game with a couple cameras on the game board and like all that stuff. And I was wondering if anybody was doing that for Titanicus.
So there's a few guys that do it, like Tabletops Standard are the main ones who do like streamed games. They've started doing them end of last month when the lockdown levels went down a bit. They've started having people come round, like Chris and Steve have been doing some games. So it's exactly that. They just go through, watching. They're not live, but obviously they'll sort of,
Yeah, it doesn't have, but as long as, because I was thinking I wanted to check out some of those for a Titanicus type game if there was any out there.
Yeah, no, the Tabletop Standard is the one we want to start with. As I said before, he done a whole series of tutorial videos of how to play Titanicus, which just covers everything and gives you a really good understanding of how to play the game.
Okay, good. Good. We're going to leave with this one. I'm going to go for just a minute. We'll probably be back in like 2-3 minutes. I'm going to let a time lapse go. We'll do this one. I'll time lapse this one, and I will be right back.
See you in a bit. Open up some chocolate raisins while this has disappeared. So yes, if I can get into it. I've got all my snacks with me because why not? But yes, so there's a couple of minutes of me eating and drinking. What's new? This is what you've come here for. It's not to see this glorious artwork. It's to hear me rambling on about the good old days and stuff and Titans and eat and drink. So being careful because I'm eating chocolate raisins, so just spitting them out. I possibly have. I'm not sure because I just flitting like with Discord. I literally just pop in there every now and again. Like if I've been tagged, I'll pop in and go, "Oh, what's going on?" And stuff. So when you post up next, tag me because obviously being part of other Discord groups as well and hobby groups and stuff, I don't have a lot of time to actually just go through all my social media and all that. So I try to keep down the amount of groups I'm part of now, but it's just spending the time to actually sit down and actually go through things is a bit of a challenge at times. So, but yeah, if you tag me in something Crimson, then obviously I will zoop in and perv over it a bit. So that's the only way I sort of operate really. Because I say where I was part of so many groups in the past.
We need a show tag too. Eventually we'll get there, maybe around like show 50 or something. Start using some sort of tag, or I don't even know if there's not probably no reason to tag anything yet, but I can see it happening. And there's a couple things to do with that I'll be doing. I'm still excited for this. So whatever, I'm like, I think both of us enjoy it, and you've been doing your Saturday thing and all that. So I'm like, I'm keen on doing this stuff. I'll try to do, and me and you have to try it one time. So I don't know how this would work, right? So I send you an invite for this, and you get on this camera. Do you have another camera or another device to sign in with a camera?
Yeah, because I have OBS.
Okay, because what I'm wondering is if we could do basically three screens, and we could do just two, fine. But I'm just wondering from a technical perspective, if I can send two invites to the same person, you know what I mean? I'm like, I don't even know if they, I don't know if they like block because you can only have one on the ISP or who knows what. But I'm literally curious if I could send it to someone and then like even for other guests have someone who is working on it and you can see their face if they want. So I was curious, we're going to have to test that out one day because we got lots of shoot, we can split screens like this, one, two, say three. Oh no, it doesn't want to do, so we could split like that, you know what I mean? So there's different ways and it might be kind of cool.
Yeah, yeah, possibly. I said like I can only do like on my YouTube. I can only do the split screen, like the different views through OBS. So it's whether or not that can go
I think
through.
it does. I think me and Mal try, and it's not like a big deal. I was literally just like thinking of it from the perspective of what can be done with it. But I think
It's definitely a learning experience.
yeah, yeah. But I'm glad I'm doing it now, so that way, this way, I'm ready for when I'm 70. I'm going to be the
Yeah.
best 70-year-old streamer.
Oh yeah, it'll be like you'll be rocking the streams. You'll be like sailing the high streams like a
Like at
streaming
that age,
pirate.
you'd be like falling asleep for like a half hour on stream. You just like cock out and then wake up later. Like, oh god.
There are streamers that actually do that for a living.
Yeah.
They just stream themselves sleeping. There was like some Japanese one that does that. I get a lot of this information from my other half, Sam, because we're her and her kids watching all these different things, and
Yeah,
they're do, streaming them sleeping. Okay, and like they give like you can actually pay to wake them up.
Like, oh god.
You got to
Oh, that'd be
subscribe.
the worst. That never. You'd have to pay me a
Yeah,
lot of money to do that one.
it's crazy, but yeah, there's a stream for everything out there.
True enough.
Ross, let's crack that open.
Wait, what? I didn't even get. What is the name of this one again?
Exitium Dominus.
Excessium
Which
Dominus. I dig it.
it was a guy called Matt Swift on one of the Titan groups. He posted up a load of names of Titans that he just made up. So look, this is for if you want any of these, help yourself, sort of thing. And I saw that and I thought, because Matt's a friend of mine anyway, so I just went, I'll have that one because it was he transcribed it as being like destroyer of gods or something like that.
Yeah.
Which would be perfect for god breakers.
Yeah.
When I put it through like a Latin translation, Google Translate, you can translate whatever into Latin. When I put the phrase in, it just came up saying the destroyer, and I thought, I like that. It's not what I thought it was called, but I like that. It's just known as the destroyer. So yeah. But yeah, Exitium Dominus. Because I name all my Titans.
Heck yeah! Yeah, they're achievements. Name them.
That's weird. See behind me.
Wait, let me see. No, I zoom in. Do we? Is there a ghost sighting?
Is that light?
Yeah.
That just came on.
Oh, wait. I think I know why.
That's weird. Because that's never come on. I didn't even know it was a light.
That's funny.
That's. Well, I've always associated with ghosts and all that. My one of my gamer tags is 10 ghosts. So yeah, this is the 11th one. Yeah, that is very
good
strange.
for the stream. A little haunting, a little ghost
Yeah.
action on stream. See that, people? Glad you tuned in.
So you don't get that on any other stream.
Yeah.
No, we bring you ghosts and Titans.
There has been no Dune news, right?
No, the only thing that I know Dune related is the roleplay game, like the tabletop roleplay game, is coming along or being released soon.
Okay.
I think. But apparently, it's lots of people. Lots of people are excited for it and wanting to get involved. I did think years ago, actually in the last millennium, we were like friends were thinking about trying to make our own version of Dune roleplay game, but we're trying to figure out how the hell you can make it work because you can't really have a group of like House Harkonnen, House Carino, House Atreides, House Grumman all running around together. It just doesn't happen. So I don't know.
Wait, what the heck was I just gonna say? Oh, darn it! That was probably some good point and everything.
But I want to play a Fremen.
Oh, wait, let me go here. I just saw a mechanical frog say something over there. My milkshake. Titans to the yard.
Yes. But I actually saw a meme Monday, and it was this guy like it was a meme of a tweet saying like, if you I hear about this milkshake bringing all the boys to the yards, but if you said it was alcohol, then you'd bring all the dads to the yards and they'll mow it for you. Frog, yeah, because that was one of the things. Because Frog put up a message at like 3 a.m. this morning on the live chat, asking about why isn't this particular thing something to do with meat, I think. And then I replied to it and I said, no, that's next week.
Oh, so I didn't see that. And what's weird is YouTube. It, the I do not like their apps and whatever. I can never get to the comments. Half the comments I don't even see anymore when they come in. If I comment on someone else's video, it takes me forever in some like I can't find it in the normal like YouTube, and you can't find it on the even the app for YouTube. So then you have to like log into the studio on a browser to find the comment on your comments. I'm like, what? Yeah, like, you have to log in sometimes, like just on the normal one, sometimes on YouTube, but on a browser, and sometimes Studio on a browser, and then Studio on the app is basically useless. So it's like all these different things. Like, why don't you just make one spot and let me get all the stuff? It's like it's so frustrating.
Yeah, they're just
See,
making
that's
it
what you
on.
said. YouTube is strange. It says there are comments, but they don't show up. And then sometimes I find those comments in like some roundabout way. Like today, I saw a bunch, and I was like, "Wait a second, none of those popped up before."
Mm. But that's the thing. It's like where I have been doing like my stream, for example.
Yep.
Looking at the screen, I don't get any messages come up on it. It has like the box for comments, but I don't get any comments coming up on it. So that's why I had to have my phone on to read the comments.
Yeah, yeah.
I don't know what happened. I might have done something, clicked something by accident. Who knows?
Hmm.
But I have my phone on now, so I can actually see what people are actually messaging. Because I was doing one stream, I'm thinking, well, I've got viewers, but nobody's talking, and I'm
No
asking,
one's saying a word to me.
nobody's saying a word. And then I went onto my phone and realised there was a whole load of like chat going on that I wasn't part
Yeah.
of. No, it would either be a rogue trader thing, or you as a group that would have to pick an alliance. Yeah, yeah. That's the thing. It's like in the whole June thing, it was fairly, cut and dry. Unless you're sort of someone's a spy, sort of like or a Bene Phalanx face dancer infiltrating. You're normally going to be all part of the same sort of household type situation in June.
Lee, did you ever happen to play the Dune game that came out? It was like, I want to say like 93, 94, and it was for computer. You could get on a Commodore is what I had it, but I think it also had Apple or whatever else was on there. It was a little Doom RTS, so it was very much like
Yep.
you did play it.
It was a precursor to Command and Conquer.
Yeah, exactly. And what was so you did play it? Okay, interesting. I played that one too, and I remember
There were 3
one
households
time
in it.
I had to assault some base or something, right? And I got it down to I literally had one unit left, and it was like a vehicle, and you could bombard the wall, and then sometimes the people would run out, and you have to do this thing. So it was those early games, so you could end up with some screwy things really happening. So I had like one vehicle, and I would kind of run away, and then bombard it, and then run away, and then bombard it. And then I also remember, wasn't it like the Fremen who had the gas, or who was it had the gas who could convert people?
But
I
as
remember.
the third household,
Yeah.
which I can't remember the actual name. So you had like Harkonnen, you had Atreides, and then House, um, whoever they were called, and they had that sort of thing,
Yeah.
poison stuff. I
That game
believe.
was ahead of its time at then.
But as I said, that game is what was the create the primordial creator of Command and Conquer. All
For
those games
sure.
from that. Um, always my ex-wife, she used to play Command and Conquer, all the different ones.
Yeah.
Absolutely loved those games. But she was so vindictive in the fact that, or mean, just mean. Like you would have one enemy trooper like had survived this carnage of a battle, and it's, they start heading home, the long walk back to its place, and
Yeah.
she would find it, and then she would actually do the cheat code for a nuke and nuke it. It's just
Oh,
like, give the guy a break. You've just annihilated his entire unit, and you go out there, find him, and nuke him.
I remember my friends. We would get together with Commodore 64s and put them together and then play that game.
Yeah,
It's
so that was a good thing
amazing
about
back then that you could totally do that. Then that was crazy to me.
it. Yeah. Just putting stuff together and just like, because I had it on the Amiga, because that was my
Yep.
right. So this is how I got my first computer. So I was 15, and now it wasn't really, my mum and my stepdad sort of thing lived in a house which was owned by, well, it wasn't owned, it was a council home
Yeah.
owned by the government type thing,
Yeah.
and we didn't really have a lot of like money, like free money and
Yeah.
all that sort of stuff. And then one day, my mum's gone, "What do you want for Christmas?" And because I knew this sort of thing, and I'm not one of these precious type people, I just
Yeah.
said, "Oh, I'm okay. Don't worry.
Yeah.
And she goes, "Would you like a computer?" And I went,
Oh, yeah.
"Whoa, um, yeah." And then she's got out her catalogue, and she's like, "Well, have a look at these computers. Which one's a good one?" And first of all, I picked the Atari ST because it was cheaper.
Yeah.
That one's okay. And she went, "Is that the best one?" I went, "Well, no, the Commodore Amiga on the next page. That's the best one." And she goes, "Well, would you like that for Christmas?" And I'm like, "Yeah, that'd be amazing. Oh,
Wow,
thanks."
that's cool.
And what she said, like, it was about September time, I think. And she went, "What we're going to do? We're going to go out with your older brother because he's much older than me, and we're going to go to a place called Lakeside, which is a new super shopping mall
Yeah.
that was opening over near where we lived." And we went down there, and she said, "Oh, Paul's going to buy it on his credit card, and to get it." So I went, "Okay, cool." So we went there, chose the computer, and got a few bits of like games and packages or whatever. So it was about £500 in the end. Because we bought extra insurance as well
Yeah.
in case. Um, so it's £500. I'm the happiest 15-year-old kid and everything.
Yeah.
And then somehow I ended up paying for it because I had a paper round, and I got paid
Yeah.
£12 a week for this paper round, and half of it I had to give to my mum to pay for the computer. It took me like 3 years to pay
Yeah.
this bloody thing off. I'm just going, but
You should have
wasn't this
told. Yeah.
actually?
I'm like, yeah, I wanted it, but I didn't want to pay for it.
Yeah, I felt like I was duped.
That's funny.
Yeah. So, although I had many, many, many hours of playing games on that thing. Uh,
Did you play the Space Marine? What was it, Crusade? Or like it was kind of rebranded. It was, I don't know
oh,
what
the
year.
Space Hulk.
It was
Space Hulk.
before Space. It played like Space Hulk, but it wasn't Space Hulk. So it was that early Commodore stuff, and it was
Mm.
Space Marine. And you would get your squad of like a few dudes, and you could arm them. The sergeant could get the. You could have Blood Angels. You could have Ultramarines, and I forget the other ones you
Oh,
could pick.
yeah, I think, yeah.
It was called Space Crusade on the PC
Yeah,
when I did it. I'd have to look it up. Let me
yeah.
see real
There was
quick.
one I played called Hired Guns, which was
Oh yeah, I think it was
like you could
Space
screen
Crusade.
four screens, and you had four members of your team, and you could like flip between them. That was a pretty like an early Doom type game.
I'm trying to
Um,
look right now. I gotta find my browser. I want to see if it was called Space Crusade. It still makes me want to play it sometimes. They had the regular. It was. I was surprised they were doing that then. Space
There was
Crusade.
games I played on the Amiga.
Yeah, Space
Or,
Crusade video game. Yeah, so that's the one I was thinking. So when you get a chance, look up, when did it come out? Space Crusade is a 1992 video game based on the Space Crusade board game. It's
Mm.
the first video game set in the Warhammer 40K universe.
I might
Huh.
have played. I might have played that one.
Amiga, Amstrad, PC, Commodore 64, DOS, MS DOS, blah blah blah.
Yeah, the games I played the most on the Amiga were one called Carrier Command.
Oh yeah,
Uh, there was that, and Elite Two, Frontier, which I played that to death. Cannon Fodder, Sensible Soccer. Um, but yeah, like with Elite Two, I absolutely loved playing that game because it was like space combat, flying around and
yeah,
everything. And there was this because you could do force a miss jump. So if you was trying to escape from um, like pirates, basically space
yeah,
pirates, because they like to come around and terrorize you. Um, you could just press like an F key plus another key, and you would just like automatically just go boom without making any plotting calculations and just
yeah,
jump. I'd done one of them, and I ended up about you know not that far away from where I actually jumped from, so it actually caught up with me really quickly.
yeah,
And then I done another one, and then it took me 15 minutes to actually find myself on the galactic map because like you just had to mouse scroll,
yeah, yeah,
you put it to the edge of the screen, and you had this indicator arrow saying you're going that way, and it took me 15 minutes of just continuous movement because the thing with Elite, the game universe. So if you imagine your computer like is like the center of it,
yeah.
the game universe technically went for a mile either side of you.
Oh yeah, for the size of it. Yeah, I know what you
Yeah.
mean.
So so you're scrolling and scrolling and scrolling. I found myself eventually in a system which was desolate. They have, there's so many systems there, but they haven't named most of them.
Yeah,
Or and you're sitting there and going, right, I'm an eagle fighter and I'm in the middle of nowhere. And yeah, I thought there's no way I'm going to be able to get back in. There was no like, if there was places I could land, like a space station, I might have been able to do something or whatever, but there was nothing. So I had to start again. I can hear screaming. That means there's been a goal.
yeah. There were some tripped out things and old video games. Like just, I just remember playing some of the flight sim ones, and their rule books were always so huge, and they had this one game where you had to refer to a certain page in the book and type in the code to land. You know what I mean? That was like their security. So I'd be like, this and this, and you're trying to land your thing to complete the mission, and you had to refer to the book and then type in the code word that was on whatever page, different pages, and then that's how you would be able to land.
Yeah, there was I think there was also the thing where you could just fly towards like a planet and just keep flying and you just bounce off the surface
Yeah.
because you had like sort of like a pilot assist. Um, there was another flight simulator one. It was um, an F-117 Nighthawk simulator type thing, and I spent most of the time flying around Western Europe, blowing the shit out of like
Yeah.
Germany and stuff like that, just like or flying in the Persian Gulf, evading Doppler radar.
Yeah.
Uh,
There was a great game I liked called Airborne Ranger back around that time, and it was a precursor to a lot of games because it did a lot of stuff. Like there was ones
hmm,
where you're like crawling in a trench trying to. There was bunkers firing, and this is like it was early, so it had to be the very early '90s. I don't think it was in the late '80s, so it had to be around the same time as these games. So 92, 93, and it was you'd like it did a lot of stuff really well. Like you had to there would be a bunker and you'd have to raid it, and you'd have to like clear out your path, and sometimes there was like trenches, so you could crawl in the trench and then stand up and throw a grenade or use a rocket, or you could kind of try sneaking around. So there was a different ways to kind of get through the board, and it was like a super early what was that one, not Snake, Solid Snake. What series is that with
Oh,
Solid
Metal
Snake?
Gear Solid.
It was like a super early version of Metal Gear. So that was like probably the
Yeah,
first I remember like a Metal Gear type of game like that. So it was like a super early version of that.
yeah. Um, 'cause no, I joined.
Uh oh, we may have froze out Lee. Oh no,
I'm
we
back.
got, no, we got you. And it might be me. It
Yeah.
started storming here, so I don't even know if it might end up booting me. It was a we were we were on the stream, and then did one too many, and it starts storming.
We got ghosts and titans and now
And see, it
storms.
already did start. It started storming here, so it'll probably end up. Oh, what time is it?
Everything's trying to stop us.
It will not stop us.
No. But yeah, I was just saying that I played Metal Gear Solid 2, and from there, because obviously it was such a different game. Because like, basically, what do you mean? You just can't run around and kill everything.
Yeah,
You got
yeah.
that stuff. Um, but from there, I got into Splinter Cell, Tom
Oh,
Clancy's
there
Splinter.
was. I don't. It was a while ago. There was one version. It was still, and I Splinter Cell was kind of cool for me. I liked the game, but there was one version. I think it was Splinter Cell that came out, but you could play co-op with a friend, and
Mm.
you could tag team, so you could both get set up into position and then issue an execute order basically, and
Mm.
you would all shoot your you both of you would shoot your targets like on different floors and everything at once. And it was so fun to plan missions with somebody, and I was like, wow, that was brilliant. And they took it out of the next version. I always remember being really mad because I was like, dude, this was so fun. It was a it was fun to execute because you had time to plan your mission with, you know what I mean? You'd be sitting there, okay, we
Yeah.
move up there, sneak behind that light. I'll get up here. You shoot these guys. I shoot these guys. So it was like, it was a good planning with your buddy game. And it wasn't just, oh, run around, constantly shoot. It was get in position and then make an excellent like maneuver. And I loved that thing. And then they like got away from it instantly. And I was bummed.
There was another game I used to play on the PS2 called SOCOM, which was unique because you had like a little mic thing attachment with the game,
Oh,
so
I played that. I played
you
that.
could do
Yeah.
verbal orders to your squad. So
Mm-hmm.
you could like say, "You hold position, you advance, you,"
Yeah.
sort of thing. But you could do a split screen with a friend as well. So like my brother brought this over. He stayed over at my little brother. Sorry,
Yeah.
stayed over with and we was playing SOCOM, but we was living it so much. We actually went out and bought ourselves boonie hats. So we
Yeah.
stayed in boonie hats. Okay, you give me cover to the left. I'm right next to you. I know, but we're living the game.
My favorite one is my friend. We were playing, and this is when we were already like, I don't know, older or whatever. I'm pretty sure it was Red Alert, and we were playing 2-on-2 online, and they didn't have like TeamSpeak or whatever. He literally had his brother tape his phone to his head because we had to talk on the phone. And if you're on the phone holding it with your shoulder for hours, you know how your neck totally gets. So he literally taped the phone to his head so we could play and talk on the phone while we were playing.
As needs must. You have to do this sometimes.
Civilization One, Mechanical Frogs. Civilization One kept me out of honors class in high school. Civilization Two kept me out of good college. Civilization Three made sure a BA with a math GPA. That's funny. Basically, Sid Meier ruined my life. So,
Yeah. He is
Sid
responsible for a
Mead, or
lot.
is it Sid Mead? Sid Mead? Is it Sid
Sid
Mead?
Meier, I
It
think.
is Sid Meier. Yeah, that's right. And yeah, and I always remember like the Sid Meier and then SSI games. I think it was SSI. They were always a big one when I was playing. If you got, oh my gosh, whatever you do, if you like Civilization at all, you go and get Civilization 5. I think it's 5. And there's an add on. So it was like people who just had the source code and they built onto it, right? And it was Fall from Heaven, and there's, I think it's Beyond the Sword or something. There's the two attachments. You load them both up. It is still the most mind-blowing Civilization game of all time, dude. The things that happen in that game are like totally incredible. So anyone who likes the Civilization games, look those up. And after that those mods came out, they hired the people who made those mods. But the way the world works, like, dude, wonders will happen, like things that rarely happen. It's like a whole bunch of like, I don't know, like all kinds of world events trigger. You get huge giants walking around scorching the land. You can summon all these demons and everything. It's incredible. So it's like, if you ever get the chance, play that thing.
Play through the ages, the board game, you cowards. There was, there was, I say play through the ages. Sort of just reminded me of there was a tabletop game, war game, Starfleet Battles.
Mm-hmm.
I played sort of mid 90s when I first sort of started. I started to go to a gaming club when I moved
Yeah.
from London out to Essex, and they were doing this like a campaign. One guy called Paul had these like star system creation rules.
Yeah.
So what you do is like you'd find yourself a spot on this big hexagonal map, basically, and they said, right, I'm going to be here. As the Cleons, I'm here. Federation's over here. Romulans down there, and all that sort of thing. And so you'd roll on a dice chart to see what your home system was like.
Okay.
So, like, I had 1 star, but then I had lots of planets which would generate minerals for each turn, which you can then put towards making ships and stuff. And then once you got your first ship, you could then explore a set amount of hexes around your system. And
Yeah.
this went on for weeks. But the guy who was running it, a guy called Andy Ferguson, he said that each turn, each week is a year in the
Oh yeah.
this year, and we're going through the thing. So you can't have certain technologies because they're not invented yet.
Yeah. Yeah.
We all went, okay, that's fair. That's fair.
Yeah.
And as I said, I was playing Klingon. Andy was playing Romulan because he was that kind of guy. And there was like another like 6 or 7 people all playing like Lyrans and Kazinti, Gorn, and all that sort of stuff. Federation. So for the first few weeks, it was a case of just exploring. And then one of my friends said, we're doing this
Wait.
doing
It's
thing.
I gotta grab the. Keep going though. I'm just gonna pause so I won't.
How we are doing this in a timeline setup? And I went, yeah. He goes, basically, up until a certain point, the Romulans can only have certain ships. And then at this point, they can start having their really big, bad, nasty ships. The problem is that they need a Klingon F5 frigate boom section. Because in the history, it's how Klingons got stealth technology was by trading with the Romulans, and they gave them the ability to make boom sections or whatever for their ships. For some reason, the F5 boom section was critical and in the development of all Romulan ships afterwards. And so I thought, I'm not that bothered about stealth technology, about cloaking devices. You know, I'm a more upfront Klingon. I'll attack whatever. I don't care about being sneaky. Doesn't bother me. So I avoided the Romulan Star Empire like the plague, because, as the rules stated, you can't have anything if you haven't got the prerequisites. And so everybody else was like getting their bigger, better ships as the years went on. And these Romulans were like going, I'll trade you cloaking devices and stuff and plasma torpedoes. And I'm going, not interested. not interested at all. Because we knew that if he got the bigger ships, like the Divodex eventually, that would be, quite nasty to come up against. So yeah, I avoided
Okay,
him. And
I'm gonna show. I gotta see if I still remember how to spell this one. Or wait, Telengard. There's a game called
Talon,
Telengard, and wait, let me see if it's right here. So yeah, this game. Hang on, let me do this. How do I do this? Big screen. Nope. This. I guess I don't have anything up there. Ivan, do not bother me right now, buddy. I know it's storming. You'll be chill.
the winds are blowing.
Yeah. And he, whatever's food and all that. There, good boy. Okay, where are we? This. A. So this, I remember this game. So this was like one of the first. It's 82, but someone first wrote it in like 76. And then it got distributed through some colleges. And I went and visited my cousin. So what was it? Probably, I want to say I was like 1980. So they had a college version that they passed around in college where they kind of was for like programming in school, right? And so then they gave me that one. So I had this game kind of before it came out, but that was like the first one I ever remember playing that was like D&D style, you know what I mean? I think I played, your Pong or something like that, but like a video role playing game. And they don't have this, like this was the graphics. It can't even zoom in good. But wait, how do I can't zoom in. So it's literally like the text graphics, but I remember they had this thing. It was like probably like level, I want to say like level 7, but I think it was a little deeper. It might have been 15. And you would go and you would sit on a chair, and the chair would teleport you to a random spot in the dungeon. And this was before like there was no like level caps, you know what I mean? So I would try to teleport, and I would like every once in a while you could sneak in somewhere, open a chest, and get like some incredible magic item without dying. And so my whole plan was always, all right, hit the chair as soon as possible and try to get an OP weapon, and then go through, go back. And it was random. So you would try to go in the chair and then somehow come across the chair again and then sit in it and get back. But I spent so much time trying that, and it like never worked. You would get some cool weapons. It was fun to get way overpowered weapons. And that's something I always liked about games, is when you could get like the weapon you could get wasn't capped by your level or something. You know what I mean? So it's like I always loved that about the early games. It was like, oh, you could sometimes get something that was like way super powered, or come across like a character that would just absolutely wipe you out. I always kind
Yeah,
of like
that's
that.
the. When I was just looking at that graphic that you put up, I instantly thought of remember Gauntlet.
Mm-hmm.
Health is low.
Yeah,
Health
and it
needs.
was just a simple overhead made of like the different letters and symbols, and like that was it, and you'd move one spot, and you would, it would have like a treasure chest, and the treasure chest would be made out of a few like different letters and stuff all arranged, so you could tell it was like see a chest, and then you like click on it, and yeah, it was
Yeah,
crazy. But
it's
I
amazing
remember
when you look
that.
back.
I was amazed by it. It was just one of those things. I was like, oh my god, like you can make a D&D right on a computer.
Yeah. Well, that's the thing. It's like those early sort of game consoles and stuff. Even like before the Atari,
Yeah.
it was like a thing like a Binatone or something like that. It was just a really simple. You plut it on plug into your TV, and you could
Yeah.
play like this, like, you know, and it was like the greatest thing ever. Like, wow, this is amazing with a little turny dial. Ooh, ooh, ooh.
Yeah.
Playing tennis with somebody on the TV. It was just like, that was mind blowing. And then
And
obviously going to
like
arcades,
we're old enough to remember like times with no computers and stuff. You know what I mean? So it's like the last real generation who kind of grew up without that for a while, you know, and like it was all new, like, oh my God. And a video game, like something like you liked, like that would come out, and then it would be kind of like years before you saw a thing that was kind of close sometimes. You know what I mean? Like, I want another game like that. And you're like waiting forever. And it's like, it reminds me of like something like Star Wars. And like people, like now, a lot of them won't understand, well, what's the hype about Star Wars? You got to remember back then there was nothing. So you got one cool ass movie that you couldn't rebuy on VHS or nothing, right? You had to hope it made it years later onto TV to watch an edited
yeah,
version. But like, so there was nothing. So you would get that movie, and then you're waiting like, what was it, like 3, 4 years for another one to come out? You know, it's just like you're waiting that whole time.
it's so recently, like, have you seen Solo?
Yes. Yep.
Now, out of all the recent Star Wars movies, I love Solo, right?
Okay, you did.
For the pure reason is that watching it made me remember what it was like to watch the original trilogy.
Yeah. Yeah.
It had that. It had something about it that made me sort of
Trigger
feel
the
like I was
nostalgia
back then.
feeling.
Yeah, and like Rogue One, for example, is a really great gritty Star Wars war movie. But
Yeah.
I've watched it once, like through the entirety at the cinema, and I tell you what, I've watched it. I watched it twice. I watched it once at the cinema and once on streaming, whatever.
Yeah.
And if it was on and I clicked on it, I probably wouldn't watch it.
Yep.
The only bit I would watch was the end bit from like the battle over Scarif
Yeah.
and that sort of thing. Yeah, and especially the Vader scene. Like the Vader scene, I've watched on YouTube loads of times.
Yeah.
But Solo, I've watched about 5 times, sort of thing, and each time I've enjoyed it every time. And that's what
Gotcha.
I used to do with Star Wars and with Empire and Return of the Jedi. You'd watch it multiple times, because he was so like into that sort of universe, that sort of feel
Yeah.
about it all. Um, but yeah, I didn't get that with Rogue One. As good as a movie, and it is a good movie.
Yeah. It's just a different feel to the movie. Yeah, I can see
Yeah.
that.
But it was just never really sort of, you know, grabbed me in that respect.
Hmm.
Whereas Solo did, and it did make me feel like an 8-year-old again. You know,
Yeah,
watching.
that's kind of a lot of those. That's the whole point, going to see the movie a lot of times.
And even though it had a bad reviews, and that's what sort of stopped other things being made, I still really enjoyed it. You know, and like
Yeah.
Donald Glover as Lando Calrissian was
Yeah.
just
Yeah.
that was,
I like Community a lot too, so I'm kind of biased towards liking him.
oh no, Community. I love Community.
Heroes. Hello. Thank you for making it again.
Yeah, Community sort of once Chevy Chase left and Donald Glover left, it just didn't.
Yeah.
Yeah,
No, they had great chemistry for those years for a while there.
yeah. I know Chevy there was a bit of a falling out with Chevy, wasn't there? So,
Yeah, some whatever went on. I don't even fully know.
but
At
it is
least
what
we
it is.
got whatever. There was quite a few good seasons out of that show.
I said one of my favourite ones is when um, Troy and Jeff
Yep.
find the trampoline
Oh yeah, they're in the back and they're
garden,
yeah.
and they're
And they
going
just
in
like
there,
bow, they're like all relaxed and like we're gonna go back there.
and it's all magical and everything. And the next thing you're realizing that like the guy's actually like a Nazi.
Yeah.
All the clues were there.
They didn't see it. Yeah, he said Mechanical Frog said the D&D episode was epic. There was a couple of them.
Oh yeah, yeah,
And the
both of them.
same with the paintball one, because it was like all things like I did. It was one of those you could tell it was kind of for this generation, because like, yeah, I played paintball, plus I played D&D, plus I, you know what I mean? It was like all those
Pillow
like,
Forts as well.
yep,
The Battle of Pillow Town and
yeah.
Yankeesburg. And what is the whole documentary that was with David Keith narrating it, or Keith David or whatever his name is.
Yeah.
But yeah, that series never really disappointed. Wherever it went, it was just Troy and Arbed, Britta. Oh,
Yeah.
you said Britta.
One of my favorite ones was I love the one where it was the foosball where they play foosball against the
Yeah.
Germans, and it was like whatever. That would always just cracked me up.
Was it? Oh, Shirley, wasn't she?
Yeah,
And
it was Shirley. She was the one who made Jeff cry when they were kids.
yeah, and that's why she's like a born again Christian. I always liked Shirley when she'd be like, "Oh, talking all like that." Then don't you watch it, sucker?
Yeah, yeah, they did some good casting and everything on that show. It was a lot of fun for a while.
And the
I
Dean,
went. Oh, what
the
were you gonna
Dean,
say?
Dean Pelton.
Oh yeah. He's it's a brilliant.
I just
Character.
don't know what I'm doing
Oh,
anymore.
I love their mascot. It was just so fun.
Oh, the human being.
Yeah, like all gray and
the flag they done, which was like
yeah.
No, but yeah, no, the D&D episode with Neil, like Fat
Yeah.
Neil sort of thing, and how it came about. It was actually quite a good sort of like Jeff being an asshole created. Oh, it's over there by Fat Neil, like an off the cuff thing, and this guy got then ridiculed and called Fat Neil from then on. But
Yeah.
that whole thing and the way that Chevy Chase becomes the villain in that as well.
Yeah.
But what's his face? Chang. He turns up and he's a drow.
Yeah.
It's like, oh, he's all in there. He's all invested and he dies really quickly. Oh, poor Chang.
Yeah, that guy's a funny actor too.
Mm. Yeah, because he's done a stand-up video on Netflix.
Okay.
Ken, oh, can't remember his surname, but
Yeah.
I love. Well, part of his set, he's going on about his wife because she's Vietnamese,
Okay.
and her surname is Ho.
Oh
So
boy.
you can see where he's going. He went with
Yeah.
that. He's just brilliant, and he's such a. And you get across as well, though, just how much he actually loves his wife. And
Yeah.
that she is a hoe, and I can say that because she is. She kept her name. Well, yeah, there's what's the other one? Parks and Recreation.
I
Did you ever
haven't
watch that?
watched much of that one, but I always heard good things. I might catch that one day. One I haven't watched a lot of like old shows, and I forget where I was, but what I saw was um Wonder Years, right? I'm like, I haven't seen Wonder Years. I'm like, what year did that come out? I'm like, let me look at Wonder Years. And it
Like,
just
it was like,
cracked me up. I'm like, oh my God, I'm old. Because the first thing I did, and it came out in the 80s, I think. And I was like, oh my gosh, this is what the shows were like. And, right away it has the square TV screen size. So, you're already in the whole dated phase of like oldness. I was like, oh boy.
Danica McKellar. I had such a crush on Winnie Cooper,
Yeah.
and because she was also in other films. She was in Babylon 5. I remember because that was the first thing I remember seeing her in after.
Oh, really? I never
Yeah,
knew
she played
that.
Centauri. She was a runaway with this young Centauri. They wanted to get married because they'd had an
Oh,
arranged marriage, but they loved each other. And Londo um, basically makes it happen that they could be together. It was actually quite a good Londo episode, that one. Ken Young. That's it. Thank you, Mechanical Frog.
oh yeah. I
Yeah,
wish I still. I'm gonna have to one day. I want to go watch the newer Battlestar, well, whatever it was, like what, 15 years ago or 10 years ago now. I have to rewatch that. When it came out, I really enjoyed it, but I never watched it since. I almost want to curious if it like holds up.
I was actually watching some of the scenes, like certain scenes from the series,
Yep.
like last week. Because I know there's a couple of scenes I always like watching, which is one is the Adama maneuver. If you
Yeah.
Google the Adama maneuver, when they're doing the Battle of New Caprica, there's that one, and then there was when the Pegasus comes to same episode, I think, when Pegasus turns up to help
Oh
out with,
yeah.
uh, Galactica,
They
and
did
then the
so many
final
things
shot.
well in that show.
It was like pretty perfect for what it was. It was
Yeah.
different from the original stuff. They paid homage to the original as well.
Yeah. I think
But
that's like, in my mind, that's as good as you could possibly do with a remake, basically, because they added something with the Cylons, like they were human. You know what I mean? Like the human. I was like, okay, that's a good tripped out little thing they put in. And was it Baltazar or whatever? I loved his character. He was my favorite of the whole show.
a Baltar,
Baltar, yeah.
Gaius Baltar, yeah. Yeah, and I liked how they did that as well. How they changed from obviously he was still like a collaborator, really,
Yeah.
but originally he was an unknowing collaborator.
Yeah.
Yeah,
Yeah.
where he was basically just a horny scientist getting his end off with
Yeah.
Caprica
Oh yeah.
Six.
Wait. It's
Yeah,
cool. Yeah.
yeah. Here's all the codes you need to get into the Caprica Defense Network and the
Yeah.
Colonial
For
Defense
her,
Network.
I'm like, sure.
Yeah, here you
Why
go.
not?
But like that whole the reintroduction of because the android ones, the android Cylons were part of Galactica 80, I think. I don't think they had them in the original series.
No,
But it
no.
was like the first like TV movie for the new Galactica when they turn up at Earth, they
Mm-hmm.
had android Cylons.
Yeah.
Uh, so they've stuck that in there, which is pretty cool. And evolution wise, really really cool. Um,
Yeah, I thought
but
so too with that. I was like, oh, awesome.
the old I love the fact that because Adama served in the Cylon War, and he was in charge of the Galactica that's now being turned into a museum,
Yeah.
all that stuff.
Yeah, that
That
was cool how it was like being whatever, its last thing and all that, and then they got drafted basically.
Yeah, and then they just basically it was only because that he was in charge and he basically kept all the systems not in
Yeah.
online basically that stopped them from being twatted by the Cylon's initial
That
attack.
like I love yeah, that to me was the part that started it where it was like really good, where it's like, okay, you can see where the story's going, and it had like a little chunk of reality to it just because they would always turn the ships down, and yet it starts this whole exciting adventure, you know what I mean? In an old ship that's gonna be retired, so it has like what kind of guns do these fire?
The knee thing's rocket launchers.
Oh, okay.
Um, so you've got the Susie Rain plasma destructors, the cannons. Yeah, so the ones on the top are like AA cannons.
Oh, we gotta change that then. These are AA, right?
Yeah, so
All
they're sort
not
of.
the oh
Oh,
shit.
those chest ones are sort of battle cannons.
Okay, so
So
that one can stay. I gotta undo this way. Oh shit, I can't. Oh well. Damn, I'm on that layer. That sucks. I did that wrong.
Martin the Great Potato Mage. I watch the Adama maneuver regularly. It is such a great little scene. I just love the bit where Hot Dog is sitting in his Viper preparing to launch in atmosphere, and he just goes, well, this is going to be different. And it's like launched out the tube sort of thing. But that was, and the thing about Hot Dog is he's actually Adama's, the character, the actor, James Olmos, Edward Olmos, is actually, Hot Dog is his son in real life.
Oh, okay.
He got a part in the series. But I remember I was watching one of those like panels, and they had quite a load of the actors like on this panel at this event a few years back, and they were all saying that when they all sort of first met up with like James Edward Olmos and all that, and he was saying this is going to have 5 series, this is going to have 5 seasons. That's it. It's going to have 5 seasons. You know, that's how this is going to run, and that was from like the very early days. And
well, I think that's super important for those shows, because how do you how do you have a complete story arc when you don't know how many seasons you're trying? You know, a lot of them, they start trying to drag it out and they always lose the plot. It's like, dude, don't try to drag it out. Try to tell a complete good story and finish it. You know.
Well, that's the thing. That's what sort of ruined. Well, it ruined Lost for one, because they had like a finite amount of sort of ideas of how long they was going to go for that, and then because it was so popular, the studios going, no, we need more, and then it just got lots of fillers. I'd say to a certain extent as well, Supernatural, because that art. No, it was fun. It's a fun sort of like, you know, vampire monster hunting and all that sort of stuff. But the 5 seasons it had was its sort of main arc. But then because it was again so super popular, they started extending, and then it's like, oh, he's doing this. Oh, he's gone here. He's done that. He's now got superpowers and all that sort of stuff. And it got sort of like 12, 13 seasons out of it. So it done all right because of the fan base wanted it. But I suppose it was stronger in those first 5 seasons than in the later ones, if you know what I mean. It was a noticeable difference that occurred.
What guns? What guns are these, Lee? What are these?
Oh, they're Vulcan mega bolters. So they're, you know, bolters, but on the Gatling side of things. So bullety sort of effects, I'd imagine. Oh yes. I would say with the Susies, you could, if you wanted to, go with a bluish light, because it's a plasma. So plasmas are always sort of like a bluey glowiness.
On the one coming right out of the main gun, right?
Yeah, because you've got so like going like a bluey glow, because then that will give you a little bit of difference from everything else, then, wouldn't it?
For sure. Let me see.
Disco lights.
Blue for now. Give it some difference.
And I think the other series, like, as I was saying, like Babylon 5 was affected because they've done the cancellation, and then they redone it.
Yeah, that's right.
So he got the 3 episodes he needed to finish it off, like Sleeping in Light, Deconstruction of Falling Stars, and one other I can't remember. But it totally destroyed the story for when it was after like the war against the old ones, the first ones, and then it just it didn't help, and it just ruined the last season really. And plus they didn't like with Deep Space Nine, for the last season, they didn't keep one of their main actors. The contract ran down or something.
Yeah.
Claudia Christian, and so they let her go. Although they got what's her name, Tracy Scoggins or something. She used to be in, which was in Dynasty, I think. And she was a good actress,
Yeah.
but you always had that prejudice after you've had Ivanova, and then Tracy Scoggins comes in, and as much as she was a Babylon 5 fan as well as being a good actor, it's just that you're not Ivanova, you know.
Yeah.
And like what
Different
happened with Dax
characters.
and Jadzia Dax and Esri Dax in Deep Space Nine. People just didn't really get into her, if you know what I mean.
Yeah.
Although I
Yeah,
almost
it's
think it
hard.
would have.
Like when someone's attached character changes, that
Vulcan mega bolters go. And Mechanical Frog. If you zoom in really close on every Titan, there's a text that reads, "Point this towards enemy," like a Claymore mine. I was funny enough talking about claymores. That reminds me of one of the first games I played on a computer, like a sort of like a Call of Duty game
yeah.
back in the 90s called Delta Force,
Oh yeah.
and it was like my first time playing like online games, death matches and stuff like that.
Yeah.
And I was playing on this map, which was like a Vietnam sort of village sort of
Yeah.
area, hills and stuff all around it. And I was going along, and I found this hut, and I've gone in, and this hut's had a door at the front, door at the back. So at the back door, I put down a claymore. I thought, well, I'll put that down so nobody can sneak up on me.
Mm-hmm.
And then I went to the front door, and I was covering and sniping from there. So I hung there for a little while, and I thought, right, I think I better move. And I've gone to retrieve my claymore, but my
Oh,
claymore
did
was gone.
someone put it backwards on you?
And there was a gun sitting there. And I honestly thought some bastards stole my claymore and they've just dumped off an assault rifle, not realising that the claymore had done its job and blown the guy up.
Oh yeah.
So yeah, so I thought, oh, okay. Oh, I guess it did work. Yeah.
Claymore did its job.
Claymore did its job.
Well, I think we'll call today good for now. I'll end up working on this for a while later. I was just playing with it, seeing how I like it. Something for the show. And you have your 100th Titan, dude. That is quite a serious accomplishment in only like 3 years. I don't want to break that down. That's like a lot of Titans per month, my man.
33.3 recurring.
Yeah, that is crazy. Good for
Yeah.
you. And you'll get some games in. Hopefully, whatever, man. I don't even know what's going to go on with the whole virus thing this winter and whatever crackdowns they want and all that. But hopefully, all
Yeah.
this is mostly all blown over next spring at least, or summer or something, man.
Well, yeah, at the moment, it's just really hard getting time off from work because we're so busy.
A lot of
And
places here are too. Everything there's like crazy jobs all over right now here. They're trying to get, and a lot of places are like trying to staff up and do it. So and you can tell now here around here like traffic is back. Everyone like for the longest for like a year or more it was like way down, and now it's like full bore. So things are picking up.
yeah,
Well,
it's all fun.
Lee, you have a good evening, everyone. Thanks for joining us. I appreciate it. I'll post some more pictures out here tomorrow. And then you're going this Saturday on your stream, correctly?
Yep. 8
Uh,
p.m. EST, which is about 3 Eastern. So yeah, my
See,
usual
I know I
sort of.
always miss on your time, and I'm always like, kind of like, okay, I usually see it because you're one of the people I subscribe to. So I got that one on there, and then I'll probably be up on Sunday, probably same time or whatever, 2 or 3 o'clock for me. Do
Yeah.
some, get my streaming cred up there. Whatever I'm doing with this, I'm like, hey, it's fun. I had fun. So, all right, everyone, you guys have a good night.